What's up, and welcome to another episode of the Grindline Podcast. This is episode 56. I am your host, Greg, and we are here with Ryan and Tyler. We just got some depressing news that Tyler's favorite beer is Blue Moon, so we're all kind of sad about that. But other than
I'm
that,
not
how
sad.
are you
I'm
guys?
drinking a Hop Slam. I'm good.
Oh, I'm drinking a Green Zebra. But how are you
I'm
guys
drinking
tonight?
a Molson Canadian right now. Thank you very much.
I can't fault him for it. It's a hockey night. I drink
Okay.
if hockey's on. I'm typically drinking the bat.
Yeah,
Or
well,
That's a good one too.
I spend too much money on beer to drink stuff like that. But how are you guys?
Greg,
That's also true, but that's besides the point.
Greg, it looks like either you smoked a pound of weed or it looks like your allergies are kicking your ass.
Oh, I'm really far away from the camera. That's probably why. I had my daughter's birthday party yesterday, so I'm exhausted.
Oh,
But,
okay. So there's the
yeah,
excuse
she's 1 year old now. So
Oh, look at that.
Wow,
yeah.
Happy birthday.
So how are you guys doing tonight?
Other than my allergies trying to kill me, to Tyler's little point there, I'm not too shabby.
Yeah, allergies suck. This season sucks for allergies. I'm doing good. I mean, it's good to see that we're going to touch on this later, but the Wings players are ripping it up at the World Championships, so that's awesome to see, and to see some highlights and stuff.
Yeah, also to see the hot takes that are coming out of that, and people saying that we need to trade for Kyle Turris because he assisted on some Anthony Mantha goals. So
yeah, we don't.
That's automatic chemistry right there. But yeah, we have a couple things to talk about tonight, and I think we'll start with that. Is that if you haven't been watching the World Championships, it's been pretty intense. The match, especially today between Canada and the Czech Republic, was pretty nuts. It got pretty physical, but Anthony Mantha is making this Worlds kind of his bitch. The last, besides today's game, yesterday he had 5 points, 2 goals and 3 assists, and today he had another goal and another assist. So right now, Anthony Mantha in 3 games played has 7 points. Yeah, 3 goals and 4 assists. So he's buzzing around. He's throwing his body around. He's not sitting at the line waiting for a slapper, and he's not standing in front of the net waiting to tip a puck in. He's going down to the lower dots, and he's getting pucks past the goalies, which is great. It's awesome to see, and I mean, I can only hope it carries into next season.
Also, did you see the pass that he had, the sauce on the tape to Shea Theodore?
The nice feather.
Yeah, the backwards backhanded, or the forehanded one in front of the net?
No, the backhand one. That was nasty. It was like over one stick and then like right on the tape.
He's had a couple passes like that, and he was doing it at the end of the season too. If you paid any attention to him, like he came on, and like I said before, like the way he closed out the season, kind of like Athanasiou, is what you would hope to see, and he seems to be just carrying that over right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the big thing was that when he's off, like when he's back his confidence, he's almost worthless as a player. But when he's on, and when he's focused, he's the player that everyone hoped he would be. Now he needs to be that every night, and I think we saw towards the end of last season that he can start doing that. I think he needs to realize that him and Larkin, and to an extent Athanasiou, are taking hold of this team, and it's their team, so they need to lead by example. And Mantha, I mean, someone tweeted out, and I mean, I'm not going to go back and find it right now, that they said Anthony Mantha will probably be a 35 goal scorer next season, and I don't think that's
Scott Wheeler.
Yeah, I don't think that's out of the question at all. No, I think if Mantha played his whole season like he played the end of last season, he could have had a 40 goal season.
Yep. Yeah, well, you know what the problem with him is staying healthy and not breaking his hand on somebody else's face.
Well, yeah, that's all part of not getting in fights.
I think the big thing too that's going to be pushing this year, which could be a little terrifying, but Detroit will be in an okay position for it, is that he is coming on with Athanasiou into a contract season. Granted, they're both still at the restricted stage, but they're going to be. You got to think that Yzerman's going to want to lock them two down if one isn't traded, hypothetically. But they're both going to be playing for some money.
The thing is with both of those guys is like, they're both streaky. Like Athanasiou gets on these tears where he scores, 5 goals in 4 games and stuff like that, and then you don't see him for 5 games or so. And same thing with Mantha. Mantha reminds me a lot of Johan Franzen, where Franzen would be as hot as possible for 10 or 12 games, and then you wouldn't hear from him for the next 18 games or so. It's like it's Jekyll and Hyde. It's not consistency, and that's the difference between great players and good players.
Toward the end of the season, I get what you're saying, but toward the end of the season, I felt like even the games where Mantha wasn't scoring, he was still noticeable on the ice. And I feel like the days where Athanasiou's off, he's invisible. Like because of his lack of defense, because of his lack of, we had a huge discussion on this the other day.
You've had multiple huge discussions on this.
Yeah, infuriatingly huge discussions.
Greg, you also hate Athanasiou, though.
No, I don't. I don't hate him.
I don't think hate's the right word for Greg.
I don't hate him. I just don't think he's some crazy elite player like all these other people think he is. No, could he score at an elite pace? Sure, but what else does he bring to the table?
If you put him with a good center or a great center, he is going to be a far better player, because look at a lot of the goals that he had this year. How many of them were from setup plays in the offensive zone?
That's true, yeah.
But how many times do you see them just throw the puck down the ice and he goes chasing after it and has a breakaway?
Yeah. Most of the time.
That's not going to last forever. I mean, I get it. It works. It's great. It's fantastic. But then you start adjusting to when he's on the ice, so you can't cheat all the time. So, I mean, it's...
At least he puts pucks in the back of the net, unlike Helm used to. Though.
Okay, but that's one part of the game.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a very important part of the game.
It is, but not when you're trying to play it. When you're playing him at center, he doesn't have a high level passing ability. He can't deliver the puck to other players. If you kept him at wing, sure, he'll score at elite rate. But like I said, when he's not scoring, he's nearly invisible. I don't hate him. He's not untouchable. If you could trade him for a high-end defenseman, why wouldn't you?
See, but as are most of the scoring wingers in the National Hockey League. I mean, look at Phil Kessel. Look at Nikita Kucherov. Kucherov was shut down in the Stanley Cup playoffs. He had, 2 points in the whole series?
Yeah.
Like, he was shut down. So those players can be shut down in the playoffs. So those are not – I mean, obviously they're impact players during the regular season, and that does get you to the Stanley Cup playoffs. But when you're in the playoffs, it's your depth players that make a difference. It's not always the star players. Usually the star players kind of even themselves out. And then, it is those filler players that end up getting the goals. I mean, look at the goals Boston's getting, or the players Boston's getting goals from. Marcus Johansson. Like, come on.
Yeah, but here's the difference. Nikita Kucherov in 82 games had 87 assists. That's over an assist per game.
That's true, yeah.
He can distribute the puck. Athanasiou is not a passer. He had 24 assists in 76 games. That's a big difference.
How many did Larkin have?
And make no mistake, I'm not comparing him to Kucherov. I was more, kind of comparing him a little bit more to Phil Kessel in this aspect of like when Phil Kessel's out there, if he's not scoring, he's invisible.
Dylan Larkin had 41 assists.
Yeah.
So it's almost double. Franz Nielsen had 25 assists.
And I mean, honestly, you look at Larkin year over year, granted his sophomore year slump, but last 2 seasons he's put up 40 plus assists. He almost had 50 assists in the season prior to this.
But back
in a full season.
Yeah, but back to Ryan's point, they're coming up in contract years. Are you going to keep both of them? Can you keep both of them? That's the big thing.
I think
do you want to keep both
I don't
of them?
think
is the real question.
The problem with that is you can keep both, but whose ego from either side is going to get in the way of thinking they're worth more than they really are?
Yeah.
Well, history would tell you that's Athanasiou.
I was just going to say, we've already seen that with Athanasiou going to arbitration and who his agent is.
Yeah, was it Darren Ferris?
Yep.
Yeah.
Who's the Josh Anderson agent when they both went through their arbitration? Who's the other big name that he's got?
His clients are, oh, Jesus, Taylor Hall.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Taylor Hall, Zach Bogosian, Athanasiou, Tobias Reeder, Matt Nieto, Sam Bennett, Josh Anderson, Brandon Perlini, Isaac Ratcliffe, Michael DiPietro, all these people Zadina.
He's got Zadina great. Too.
Mitch Marner.
Oh, that's who it is. Mitch Marner. Yep.
Yeah, Victor Meta is the other one, and no other big names. I don't know who Chris Bygris is. He plays for the Rangers, but Morgan Frost, who he's a rookie. But yeah, he's got Zadina. He's got, but I think the big one for him this coming season is Mitch Marner. who will ask from Toronto 8 years, $1 billion.
It's going to be insane. That's going to be fun to watch. Like from our side of things, where we're already in cap hell, even though that we think that good things can still happen. Toronto is screwed.
Oh yeah, they're not in a good spot. I mean, a lot of the people will give you scenarios where they get rid of Zaitsev and they bring in they just don't sign like half their decor, which are free agents coming up. But I don't understand how they're going to work with that cap situation. But all their fans seem to think they can make it work.
They do have a lot of young players in the AHL right now that still aren't making shit for money. So if they do unload a contract like Zaitsev, or if someone is really stupid enough to take the Nylander contract, then they'd be in better shape, obviously.
Why would you trade that Nylander contract after signing him to a 5-year deal?
They might have
that
to.
was a mistake. That contract.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it right now, per cap friendly, I mean, Tavares is $11 million a year. Matthews starts making 11.6 per year starting next season. You got Nylander 6.9. Marlowe's still got another year on his contract, so that's a possible trade candidate, right?
Well, they're going to have to. I mean, I think that's their main trade candidate. They're going to try to dump Patrick Marleau.
He's got a no movement clause.
That was a bad decision, huh? I mean, I don't know why you would give Marleau at that age a no move.
And then the only other one that's high paid that they could tentatively move is Kadri, who's starting the 18-19 season. So starting this year, he has a 10-team no trade list, so he's tradable as well.
I bet he'll be gone. I don't think they're gonna put up with those antics that he pulled in the playoffs. I mean,
Twice.
He kind of cost them the series.
Twice.
Oh, absolutely.
Last year, didn't he get suspended in the playoffs too?
Yep.
Yeah. So
and he played really good in games 1, and I think he played pretty good in game 2, and then got suspended.
No, he was playing great. He was doing exactly what you would expect, but I'm not surprised at all that he pulled that bullshit and got suspended.
Nope, me either.
So we kind of went on a tangent, but I think we're going to pull it back to the world to talk a minute about Filip Hronek, who, my God, is starting to look like a number 2 defenseman.
Please. Yes, please.
Yeah, so Filip Hronek is tied for 7th in world scoring, but I mean, for a defenseman and how he's looked, he's been dominant for his team, which is brilliant to see, honestly.
Yeah. He's the only defenseman in the top 10 in scoring, actually top 15 in scoring in the Worlds.
He, I think, is more, and it goes back to that trade, the Datsyuk trade, where we got Hronek and we got Cholowski, and if Hronek pans out, I mean, the way I've been looking at it is trending better than Chychrun, even after last season. So if you look at Hronek's numbers from last season, let me pull them up real quick. Last season, he had in 46 games had 5 goals and 18 assists for 23 points. Chychrun had 5 goals and 15 assists for 20 points in 53 games. I mean, Hronek played 7 games less and had 3 more points.
To Hronek's defense, he was sent down. Wasn't he hurt most of the season?
Well, I feel like he's constantly hurt.
True.
Yeah, there becomes a point in time where that's an actual problem. It's a guy that's just injury prone, and that's what it is. And then you that's not even mentioning Cholowski. Cholowski, he had a good 40 games, and then they sent him down.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, if Cholowski and Hronek both pan out, I mean that trade just looks brilliant, more and more brilliant on Ken Holland's part.
Yeah, man, he's gonna be making trades like that for Edmonton now.
Yeah, I doubt it.
But I mean, he might have to get rid of that
Lucic. I don't think you're moving that one.
There's people saying they should buy him out this year.
Oh no!
I read an article saying that he should be bought out either now or you wait 4 years and try to do it again.
Are you serious?
I can't remember what it was from, but I remember reading it, and it blew my mind that someone would say that.
Why don't they just try to trade him and eat half of the salary or something?
But then you're eating the salary for the remainder of the contract.
You can eat half of it, though. I mean, what is he making? $6 million?
He's making $6 million a year. But that's.
Ryan, if you buy out Lucic, you're paying him until 2026, 27.
It's like Applicator.
Yeah, It's almost exactly like Abdelkader. So, I mean, I think
It's not worth it.
is his contract front loaded?
No, he's straight 6. I mean, per cap friendly, he's $6 million every year.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're paying him 3.625 next. If you bought him out now, you'd be paying him 3.625 in 2019-20, 5.625 in 2021. This is cap hit numbers. 4.125 in 21-22, 5.625 in 22-23, and then only $625,000 for the last 4 years.
That's stupid.
It's stupid. And I mean, you don't buy out. That's why you only buy out people if you've maybe got, if it's maybe extending them by a year or two. But I mean, I'm not paying him until 2026, 27.
No.
That's insane. But Filip Hronek is nuts in the tournament, and it's great to see him be able to dish the puck and find the space, the open space, and I believe he's running the power play too. And he looks like the guy that next season, I mean, permanent spot on the team, and is just going to kill it.
Yeah, I agree.
At least you hope so. I mean, you look at their D. I mean, we've beat this horse, I think, dead enough already as it is. But if Hronek if he's not up there top 2, especially with a healthy Mike Green, I mean, you almost want to flex those guys probably more often than not, spread them out over 2 pairs unless you're trying to be aggressive. But you got to think that Hronek's right up there. Then you spare Green and drop him down to the second pairing or something like that.
With Chalowski.
Yep.
Yeah, your top pairing's probably going to be DeKaiser and Hronek.
Which
they played together a bit this year too, didn't they?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I thought.
I think when you get DeKaiser with a guy like that, he's able to not worry about doing anything offensively, and it lets him kind of be more back, which he needs to be because he is as fast as a freaking elephant. So, but I think they'll be okay if that's your top 4 going into next season without making any moves. I'm not too upset about that for where they're at.
Yeah, I agree. I also think that DeKaiser still has an opportunity to be a little bit better defensively, or probably a lot better defensively. I still think that he's not a lost cause in terms of being not an impact player, but a player that could still contribute to this team, defensively.
He'll need to be a shutdown defenseman.
Yeah, I think he can learn to do that.
I mean, can you learn a whole lot at 29 though?
That's my whole thing.
But when he first came into the league, he did something right. And
I get it. So did Justin Abdelkader.
Yeah, well, I mean, he had one really good year. And
I still feel better about DeKaiser than I do Abdelkader right now.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
I know, and me too. But that's what people keep saying. Oh, they can learn how to do it. Oh, Athanasiou can learn how to become defensive. Okay, he's 25. So when's he learning this stuff?
Hopefully soon.
Well, the thing with it is, and there are people that made good points. You start peaking. Athanasiou's in a peak, and then he's going to go down. So players peak 25, 26, and then their production starts to dip sometimes with not superstar players.
Yeah.
With not superstar players. So
everybody's different too.
I don't think Athanasiou is a superstar player, and look how long it took him to get to this point of production. I could see him maybe holding on to this production level for a couple more years and then starting to dip. So
if he keeps improving, I'd see about 3 more years of solid. Like that's what you're going to hope for. At that point, you got to hope if he's still around by 27, 28, he's somehow made himself into a center, or he's playing a solid second line winger,
or even a third line winger.
Yeah.
So, and by that point, I mean, we'll have prospects in the system and we won't have to worry about it if he's still here. But that's what you got to look at, is that he's not the savior. Sure, he is, and it's separate him from being your favorite player or whatever from his role on the team in a business situation. Just because he's your favorite player doesn't mean he can do no wrong. He's not a great center. He cannot distribute a puck. He's not great defensively. He doesn't play a 200-foot game. He's just not a great center. Does that mean he's a bad player? No.
I wouldn't say he doesn't do it. Say he doesn't do it consistently. Do all the things that you mentioned.
Okay, he might do some of them sporadically.
I mean, I don't want to go so people like, oh, you say he doesn't do it because they will get hooked on that shit.
Well, I didn't say he doesn't do it. I just said he's not great at it.
Yes.
So is he a serviceable center? Sure. A second line center? Probably not. He'd be
No.
serviceable. He'd be a good
On a
third line
good
center.
team? No. Yes. That point, yes. On this team, second line center, yes.
He can be a top 6 winger.
He could be a top
Yes.
6 winger, and that's where he should be. And that's not a problem. That doesn't mean he's terrible. He's just better at the wing. So
He's not
lay
a center.
off. Stop saying he's invincible. Stop saying that we hate him. We don't hate him. We just hate the position that they're trying to force him into.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd still trade him for a top pairing defenseman.
If you told me that we're going to pick up a guy like Cole Caulfield or Turcotte at number 6, I'm just throwing random names out there. But then we also traded Athanasiou. If we picked up a top center at number 6, and then we traded Athanasiou for a top 4 defenseman that's going to come in, immediately start, I'm not going to be mad about that.
Werenski.
Not going to get Werenski.
I don't think we're getting Werenski. That's a pipe dream. But I think that's the next thing we're going to talk about our what-if trade scenarios. Now, we were talking about Zach Werenski, and did we talk about this on the last podcast?
Yes, we did.
Oh, yeah.
We did. But we're going to go into some different trade scenarios. So we got an interesting one tweeted at us that said, if the Detroit Red Wings want Bowen Byram, there are ripe trade partners at 3 and 4. Does AA plus a 6 get you the third and Evan Barrett from Chicago, or the 4th and Tyson Barrie from the Avs? Chicago's top 2 to 3 prospects are defensemen. Avs are in win now mode. They said they wouldn't make the deals because they think the Wings need a forward, but if you want that number 1 defensive prospect, that's the deal that needs to be done.
I would do it. I like Tyson Barrie a lot. I don't think he's a great defensive defenseman, but that's not what you're bringing him in for. You're bringing him in to, maybe quarterback the power play and show some of the younger guys. And he would kind of be part of that younger group as well, because he's not that old either, right? He's like, 28 or so?
So Tyson Barrie is 27.
Okay, 27, even younger.
In 78 games last season, he had 14 goals and 45 assists for 59 points. He would instantly come in and be your top defenseman.
I just also don't know if the Avalanche want to make a trade with Detroit, though. That's the other thing.
I mean, we might not like it, but I don't think they really give a shit.
They've got enough there that they can wheel and deal and be a dominant force. I mean, if they're going to only move back 2 spots, I don't see how they're going to lose out on much.
Plus, I think East and West trades happen easier because you don't have to see each other all the time.
Look what Mocker did coming in, so they've got flexibility there.
Would you trade Athanasiou in the 6 to the Avs? I mean, you'd have to add pieces. You'd probably have to give Athanasiou the number 6 and maybe a second this year and a second next year for Tyson Barrie in the 4, because Barrie, as a player, even though he's older, I mean, he's still a very productive defenseman.
He's going to come in and give you more than what we got.
Exactly.
And if the other key piece to add to that, I mean, you pick up Barrie, and then you take that 4th pick and go get Byram.
Yeah.
And then you've got Daly and Erickson falling off if they're not already dealt or moved out in some fashion of a waiver, buyout, or small trade for Daly, for instance.
At that point, if your defensive pairs look like Tyson Barrie, Philip Hronek, Dennis Cholowski, Mike Green, Bowen Byram, Danny DeKeyser, or swap those up.
And Bowie's your
7, and you can trade Daly and buy out Erickson. I mean, you go from having one of the worst defense cores in the entire league to having a
potentially top 10.
Middle. I say top middle. 10 to 15.
Depending on how Cholowski comes out, I could go top. Yeah, I'd see that.
You're in the top half of the league at that point.
Let's put it this way. It wouldn't be the same defense that we've been accustomed to the last 3 or 4 years.
No, exactly.
No, not at all.
Jimmy Howard might get to breathe a little bit.
Because there was a few years there where we made the Stanley Cup playoff, and we had that decor was still brutal. I mean, Cronwall was underrated, and yeah, he was still hurt. The Kaiser was probably our second best defenseman, which wasn't really saying much when you had Kyle Quincy and Jonathan Erickson and Jakob Kindl and garbage and more garbage and garbage.
Well, that's why I'm convinced Jimmy Howard's gaining weight so he can take up more of the net because of how many shots he sees.
Hey, let's
So
not make fun of dad bods.
if his D isn't gonna stop the puck, his body's gonna have to stop the puck. So he's like that walrus in net for the Geico commercial.
Can we talk about the
that
fact
commercial.
that Colorado is near the bottom of the cap floor right now?
Yeah, that's why Ken Holland's comments in his presser made no sense. One of his quotes was, "If you're at the cap floor, you're probably rebuilding," which
Yeah, well, not the Avs.
we're at the ceiling and we're rebuilding.
I mean, they definitely have a lot of expiring contracts here, but they're in good shape.
But let's explore the other one. If you wanted to trade
Well, did we
Athanasiou-
actually say what we thought would be the better idea of those two scenarios right there?
Well, let's look at the other two.
Okay.
Or the other one. So if you traded AA plus the number 6 to Chicago to get the number 3, and I'm guessing you'd have to trade like the number 6 AA and maybe a third to Chicago for the number 3 overall and Evan Barrett. Now, for people that don't know Evan Barrett, he is a center. He's 20 years old, 6 foot 190, shoots left. He was drafted number 90 overall in 2017. So his stats are actually pretty impressive. In 2017-18, in 32 games, he had 11 goals and 7 assists for 18 points. In 2018-19, so this season, in 32 games, he had 16 goals and 27 assists for 43 points. So he took a pretty drastic jump in production between last year and this year. And I watched some video on him, and he plays sort of like a Joe Veleno. He played for Penn State. He's got great puck possession, good movement, and seems to be kind of maybe a higher projected than where he was drafted. And that's a center. So if he can come in and at least be a 3C, if Veleno pans out to be a 2C, then you can trade Athanasiou and pick up Bow and Byram, because I think that someone like Zadina could replace the production of Athanasiou.
Yeah, I agree, and probably even doubled the production of Athanasiou. I mean,
Hopefully.
I think Zadina is going to be a star.
That's tough because I like the way you're replacing center with this one, and then also acquiring
you're replacing center/wing with center.
Well,
Center.
I mean,
how about that?
Tentatively, AA's a center on this team. There's no dancing around that unfortunate fact right now. So you bring one out, you bring one in. You got Veleno, which I'm surprised at how many people are not in on Veleno just yet. I mean, granted he hasn't played an NHL game, but without going down the tangent, he looked fucking awesome last season.
Yep.
In just a short time against real players. But I mean, if that's your 2C, like you mentioned, and you get this guy coming in as your 3C, I wouldn't be against it. Either scenario is what you want to hope for, because looking at LA, I think is where I could see Byram falling at 5, and that's where he's going to get scooped up, and we're going to get excited and then sad.
So you've noticed it too, then, Ryan?
What's that?
Play the kids, play the kids, play the kids, and when you put one of the kids in your projected lineup, they go, no, he needs time in Grand Rapids.
Yes, I have seen that a lot. More of Veleno is not going to be ready, blah blah blah. I'm like, did you watch anything that he did last year?
No,
training
people
camp
don't.
going into the preseason.
I mean, my whole thing with that is people will say that about Gustav Lindstrom. Okay, he's not projected to be a crazy explosive defenseman. Say that about him. You say that about Veleno, who had the season he just had in the Q, who looked great last preseason and in dev camp and at the prospect tournament, but you don't want to see what he can do at the NHL level right off the bat?
He's got the speed. You don't have to. First of all, you don't have to worry about losing him to juniors because he's already got his time because of his exceptional status. So let him make the roster. I think he can make the roster out of camp. Even if you don't want to keep him around, you're going to be sending him back to the AHL, it's going to be fine. It worked for Zadina this season, even though he still looked fantastic at the NHL level in his 9-game trial. I mean, you have nothing to lose, and that's where I'm still happily and cautiously optimistic about Yzerman being in charge is look at what he did with young players with talent and speed and what they were able to do in Tampa.
Yeah, people don't realize the fact that this is different. This is not going to be the same thing that you're accustomed to, where like, you know, the players might get overripened in Grand Rapids and this and that and the other thing. Like, this is going to be a whole new philosophy. Yeah, Yzerman's not going to come in here and make a zillion drastic changes, but if there is going to be one change that he's going to make, is he's going to play the players that he feels that have the best, that give the team the best chance to win. And if Joe Veleno is one of those players, he's going to, and if he's quote unquote not ready according to the fans, well, guess what? If Yzerman thinks he's ready, he's going to be in the lineup.
Yeah, and I think that may have even been a little different if Holland would have still been here.
Yes,
because he would still had some kind of influence. But I mean, fresh slate time. Like I said earlier, he owes no loyalty to anyone.
Nope, none.
This is the Steve Yzerman show. Thank you for showing up. But it's
he did it when he went to Tampa from the start. I think he'll do it again here.
The only loyalty he might have is to a guy like Cronwall.
And even then, I mean, he did it to Vinny LeCavalier.
That's true.
He said goodbye. So I don't think he is good enough to realize when someone is dragging the team down and when that change needs to be made. And it's a long shot, but it could happen with Abdelkader. He could wave and bury him. I would for sure tell Eriksson to fuck off. Bye. I mean, sir, you provide nothing to this team.
Nobody got Tom for you, buddy.
Sir, these gloves are wet. Go dry them.
One play a game that you're like, oh, he did something. The rest of it, you're just like, why are you here?
Generally, when I see him do something, it's something that's not good.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, it was a redirect on a shot from the point into our goal.
Yeah, I think Paul Boyer's getting a new assistant this season. He's gonna be the Red Wings glove dryer. So
that'd be amazing.
So I think, and that's the whole point is get excited. Get excited because Yzerman's here and Holland is officially now not here. So we're in a brand new era of hockey in Detroit, which is insane.
Excuse me.
I love it.
Ryan, there's a mute button, right? You can
I was way too far away, and then it just happened, and I was like, "Well, here we go. I'm gonna accept it."
Guys, I just think that it's for the first time in a while. Even there was years where we made the playoffs, and it was okay, we kept the streak alive, but we have no chance at winning anything. Where now it's starting to look like, okay, yeah, we're not going to win the Stanley Cup this year. We may not even make the playoffs this year. But we're building towards something. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and that's great to see. And I think you'll see that in the attendance at the arena. You'll see that in the enthusiasm in the building. Obviously it wasn't as loud as it could be in the past few years, but I think this year is going to be about as full and as loud as you hear Little Caesars Arena, especially with Yzerman coming back.
I don't even think the attendance was that bad last year. Granted, early on, I think it was worse early on than it was later in the season. And part of that maybe because they're bringing up some of the kids and they're starting to play well. Because the games that we went to this season, I thought there was a good crowd at almost every single one of them until they started playing their true hockey and losing the game. But, I mean, they still finished, I think, 4th in the league in overall attendance.
The crowd was still pretty loud, it seemed like, too. But I'm just saying, even if it was pretty loud, it's going to be even louder because there's going to be some hope. There are fans that think this team can make the playoffs.
I don't know about that, but
I'm not saying that they're going to. I'm just saying that there is hope. There is a possibility. It's not going to be
the fresh optimism for a new season.
Out. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. There's some optimism. There's the word I was looking for.
I put out my projected lineup earlier, and people come back with well, why are you playing four rookies and some guys who have only been in the league for 2 years? And then made a good point of that's a lineup that gets rookies experience and still challenges for a lottery pick. So, and it's not just us talking heads on Twitter or podcasts. It's a lot of analysts are still predicting Red Wings in the bottom of the league next season, which is where we honestly need to be to get another solid pick.
Yeah. I mean, if we have people overachieve this season, that's fantastic because that means there's development, they're making strides, so on and so forth. Like if you have a healthy Mantha all season, if he doubles up his totals, not even doubles up, if he improves on what he did, and then you have an Athanasiou improve on what he did, and Bertuzzi, the four heads of the apocalypse, if you will, for the Red Wings right now, with Larkin and Bertuzzi, Mantha, and Athanasiou, if they all improve, this team's going to be better.
Much better.
It's what the rest of the team is going to do. Hronek, is going to be better. I think he's already showing that he's going to be. Chalowski is a toss-up. Mike Green, if he's healthy, he's going to produce. But outside of those people that I've named, there's not a whole lot going on. And that's where you kind of have to rein in the optimism and hope that somebody else steps up, because unless there's other people stepping up like a Zadina or Svechnikov, if he's going to be in the lineup next season, they're not going to be moving very far, and that needle is going to be right about 70 points, 76 points again.
There's a lot of unknown.
I'd rather be a bottom team with a young learning lineup than be a bottom team with garbage still.
Yeah.
Because the young kids are fun to watch. They give us hope. They compete and we lose. So we'll lose close games and we'll lose 1-goal games. But the kids are so much more competitive than rolling out the line of Abdelkader, Helm, Glendening.
I agree.
For half a game. So
at least those guys are together and not separated, and Abdelkader on the second or first line anymore.
Yeah. So I think that you put in some young kids, it'll be exciting to watch. They still might be toward the bottom of the league, but they're gonna compete their ass off every game.
Yeah.
The other thing too is a lot of these younger guys that we're talking about, a lot of them have offensive upside, and add to it, they all have speed. Most of the guys in this lineup don't have either. Outside of our select few that we continuously name. Like Darren Helm, he is not highway to the danger zone anymore. I'm sorry, Rohan, but he's not. Luke Glendening is still your fourth line grinder, which he is still the exact person you want him to be. Justin Abdelkader's there. De La Rose is, I don't know why I said it like that.
Slow.
But anyway, if he's healthy, I didn't mind him back there. I thought he had a good pop to his step when he was there with N and Wade Megan. They had a great little fourth line going. But he's, again, not somebody that you're looking to score, even though I think he was a prolific junior scorer. He's still only 23 years old.
Ryan, let's put it this way. Putting De La Rose, N, and I guess even put Glendening back there, I'd rather see those guys than Glendening.
That's a great fourth line.
I'd rather see them than Glendening, Abdelkader, and Helm. I mean, like,
De La Rose, N, and Glendening is a good fourth line, in my opinion.
It's better than what we've had in the past, yes.
Yeah, I think De La Rose, to Greg's point earlier, I saw you post, I could see your point of him getting waived or bought out, or he's going into his final year with what they had, because they picked him up off waivers from Montreal, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but he's making minimal money, so if he's your 13th forward, you're not losing much on that. So either way,
he's a free agent in 2020, 2021.
So he's going into his final year.
Yep.
So I don't think you lose a whole lot by having him around. If you're going for a fourth line depth guy, if he stays healthy and doesn't have his heart condition or what it was come up at the end of the season.
I agree. But I think we're going to wrap up the podcast tonight. So I want to get you guys' final thoughts, and we'll start with you, Tyler.
Well, I'll say one thing. If it's a Stanley Cup final between the Boston Bruins and the San Jose Sharks, I may have to not watch that series. I got to be honest. I hate the Sharks for what they did to us, in the playoffs in the past.
We still need them to get to the finals.
Obviously, I hate the Bruins. So to toss up a coin of those two. I'm still hopeful St. Louis can beat San Jose, and hopefully
I'm not. I want that second-round pick.
Yeah.
But you know what? I can't.
That's the only reason
I don't want to see San Jose win a Stanley Cup ever, and I don't want to see Boston win again.
San Jose is the only team that's going to put up with Boston.
Okay, fine. Our only hope is Carolina then.
That's what you resort to?
And the Sim Peter Mrazek.
Oh
See
my
if
God.
Curtis McElhaney can dig them out of a 2-game-to-none hole.
Oh, that was my saving grace this last weekend was all the Mrazek lovers just simultaneously shut up and logged off Twitter.
Because reality hit.
Oh yeah, because Peter Mrazek showed up.
It's exactly what he did with Detroit.
That's why there's that freeze frame of him all the way out to the left of the net and
Yeah,
the puck
Peter-
all the way to the right.
God.
Greg, you remember Peter Mrazek could play perfect games in Chicago and Pittsburgh and Montreal, and then he'd go to Boston and he'd get fucking lit up against the Bruins. That guy just can't play against Boston for some reason.
He's streaky. He's too
Always
he's too rambunctious. He comes out of his net too much.
He's
He thinks
way
he's
too aggressive.
He thinks he's Dominic Hasek and he's not.
Gets over aggressive and throws himself. And the hockey is too fast for him to be over aggressive the way that he is.
Yeah, I mean, I really felt like tweeting when I saw that goal. Oh, Peter Mrazek showed up, but
yeah, there was enough people that said that. I will say I saw a lot of comments about that.
But Tyler, give us your Twitter.
You can follow me at SealDog91 on Twitter.
Ryan, final thoughts.
I just want to mention how proud I am of Tyler the last couple pods of remembering his Twitter handle right away and not having to look for it.
So, Ryan, that's called attention to detail right there.
That's stop changing it like the woman that you were.
He has it written on the wall in front of him.
No, I don't.
Anyways, no, it's final thoughts. Hockey's fun. These things are fun. If you don't enjoy it, you're no fun. I'm gonna go drink more beer. Twitter handle's already Ryan33.
My final thoughts are that I think the Red Wings are going to pick at 6. The talk now is Podkolzin. I'm okay with whatever at this point.
You know what? The Red Wings in their glory days had a lot of Russian players.
They did, and if he can't come here for 2 years, I mean, we need 2 years for a spot for him anyways. So
I would take another Russian player just because history has a way of repeating itself. Not saying that Podkolzin is going to be anything like Datsuk or anything like Fedorov or any of those guys. I'm just saying, for some reason in our history, we've had tremendous Russian players.
Yeah.
And if we're going to get back to that promised land, maybe a Russian player or two
wouldn't be so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my final thoughts are just I'm waiting for June for this whole draft thing, and I'm waiting for more projections from the top guys because I know after this World Tournament and after the under 18s, those predictions are going to change quite a bit. So I'm interested to see where we land. I'm interested to see what people think about it. We've all been putting out our wish list of our top 3 players we would draft in the position we're at. But I don't think we're going to move up. I think Bound Byram will be gone. I think we'll take one of now, since people keep saying it, Podkolzin or Turcotte. If Turcotte's not there, I'll take Cole Caulfield. But you can follow me on Twitter at Bringing the Wing. You can follow the Grindline on Twitter at GrindlinePod. You can find our podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean. Tune in. I just got done with the application for iHeartRadio.
Wow.
Look at Greg hard at work.
Some people still use iHeartRadio, apparently. We have a merch shop. If you go to redbubble.com and search The Grind Line, you will find our merch shop, where I just put up a new design today that says It's Larkin Overtime in the design of the It's Miller Time logo.
It's very classic.
Yeah, because he got that sweet overtime goal. And he's just over. I mean, we've dubbed Larkin Overtime Jesus. That's what he is. So if you go there, you can buy that on a shirt, on a cup. That one I am going to get on a clock for my office.
Nice.
Because it says overtime. So, but go there. All the money from there helps us support the podcast and pay our bills. We are also looking for sponsors. If you are a sponsor and you listen to our podcast and would like to offer cool stuff to our listeners, we now average between 1,500 and 1,600 downloads a month. So that's pretty sweet. If you want to get in on it, you want people to know who you are, your brand, offer them deals, let us know. On Twitter, you can direct message us, and we can work that out with you. But for Ryan and Tyler, I am Greg. You stay classy, Hockey Town.